Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we'll learn about the material master in SAP MM. In our last video, we understood the concept of master data in SAP MM. We learned about the concept of master data and why it is required in SAP. And in today's video, we'll learn about the first master data, that is the material master in SAP MM. We'll learn what is material master, how you can create the material master, and how you can maintain it in SAP. So let's start. So first of all, let's understand what is material master. So as discussed in the earlier video also, material master is the central source of material specific data for any organization. If your organization is dealing with materials, then you need to store the data of that material in some entity. That entity or that resource is called material master. It will basically hold all the data which is relevant for your material, and that data you will be able to use repeatedly in all your purchasing documents. So you can see here, it is used across various areas in logistics. It eliminates the problem of data repetition and data redundancy, and you can use one material master multiple times in multiple documents in SAP. And finally, the material master is also useful in maintaining inventory and for searching the historical documents such as purchase requisition, purchase order, material documents, etc. So now let's see how a material master is structured in SAP and how you can maintain the material master. So to understand the structure of material master in SAP MM, first, we need to understand what is called a view of a material master. So whenever you will be creating a material master, it will be used across SAP in various modules. Let's say that you have created a material master for purchasing related activities. Then your purchasing department will be utilizing that particular material master. Or let's say that you have created a material master for sales related activities. So your sales department will be utilizing that particular material master. So depending upon what kind of activity you're going to do with a material master, you have to create what is called as views for a material master. These views will basically represent department of your organization, which will be maintaining their specific data against the material master. Okay. So you can see here, you have a material master record. This material master record contains various views. That is, various user departments will be maintaining their data which is relevant to them as per their usage. So you can see here a material master record will contain the basic data. That is the data which will be used across the organization. That is, every module will use this basic data. Then you have purchasing data which will be used by the purchasing department. Then sales data will be used by the sales department. The work scheduling will be used by the production planning department. Then quality management, forecasting, classification. Then you have MRP data, which will be used by MRP controller. Then you have stock at plant or storage location data, which will be used by the warehousing manager. Then you have accounting data, which will be used by the accounting department. Then you can see you have storage data and warehouse management. So you can see every department will be utilizing this material master record for its own activities. So whenever you are maintaining the material master, you must maintain your relevant data, and that is why the first screen that SAP will propose you will be the views for a material master record. You will select your specific views and you will maintain those views as per your requirement. Let's say that you are from purchasing department, then you will maintain the purchasing related data. If you are from finance or accounting department, then you will maintain the accounting related data. So in this way, you can see a material master record contains multiple department related views. And if you have a central person who is maintaining every data, then he has to collect the relevant data from all these departments and then feed it into the material master record. Okay. Now, to create certain documents, you must have minimum views for a particular material code. Let's say that you want to create purchase order. Then you must have basic data, purchasing data, and accounting data. Let's say that you want to create GR for a purchasing document. Then you must have basic data, purchasing data, accounting data, and storage data. Let's say that you want to do warehouse management, then you must have the warehouse management data. Then let's say that you want to use your material for MRP related processes. Then you must have your MRP data. Okay, so these views basically represent the department which will be doing activities with the help of material master, and hence they will have to maintain the relevant data against each view. Okay, so this is the first thing that you have to understand in the structure of material master, that it contains multiple views based on each department of your organization. So you can see here the material master is maintained at two levels. One is the main work level and another one is the additional data level. Now, what is the main work level? It is basically the combination of all these views. You can see here purchasing, work scheduling, sales, accounting, MRP, forecasting. All these are basically departments which will be utilizing the material master. Now, once you have maintained these data, you also may require to maintain some additional data. Let's say that you have maintained a unit of measurement for a material, but that material is also maintained with various other unit of measurements also. So where you can maintain those additional unit of measurements, that you can maintain in the additional data levels. Okay. So you have two data screens that will come up on the screen. One will be for the main work level and another one will be for additional data level. And you can see in this additional data level, you have multiple additional data also which you can maintain. Like you can maintain text for a material, then multiple unit of measurements you can maintain, then document data, consumption data, and additional EANs. So in SAP also we'll see where this main work level and additional data level comes on the screen. But whenever you are maintaining the material master, you can maintain at both these levels. You can maintain in the main work level also, and the additional data you can maintain in the additional data level. Okay. Now let's understand what is the organizational levels which are there in the material master. So in our previous video also we have seen that any master is connected to multiple organizational element of your organization. And for material master, two organizational entities are very important. That is plant and storage location. So you can see whenever you will be maintaining material data, you will be maintaining that data at three levels. One is the general data that you will maintain at the client level. That is the data which will be applicable across your organization. Then there will be plant data that you will maintain at the plant level. And that data will contain the plant relevant information. And then you will have the storage location data, which will be maintained at storage location level. That is for each storage location under a plant, you can maintain the storage location specific data. So you have these three levels, that is the client level, then the plant level and the storage location level. And you can see at the client level, you maintain the material code, the short text, and this short text you can maintain in multiple languages. Then you maintain material groups, then unit of measurements and other details which are applicable for the whole organization. Then at the plant level, you maintain the purchasing data, MRP data, forecasting data, etc. And at the storage location level, you maintain the storage location relevant data, that is the storage bin, picking area, etc. So you can see for any material master, you have these three levels. When you will be selecting the views, which we discussed in our previous slide, those views will come up with various organizational elements. Let's say that you are maintaining purchasing view, then system will ask you to enter the plant code because the purchasing data is maintained at plant level. If you select the storage location view, then system will ask you to enter the plant and the storage location both, because the storage location view will contain data which is relevant to the storage location. Okay. If you select the basic data only, then system will not ask you to enter any organizational element because you will be maintaining the basic data at client level. So these views and these organizational levels combined together will basically create your material master. You will be presented with multiple views. When you select those views, system will ask you to enter the relevant organizational elements, and based on that entry only, you will be maintaining your material master record. So now let's understand how system will give you the screen sequence when you will be maintaining a material master record. So as we discussed, we have multiple views for a material master. That is, we have basic data, purchasing, accounting, storage, and other views. Then with these views, we have organizational levels. So once you select your views, system will ask you to enter the organizational levels, that is plant or storage location. Then once you enter the organizational levels, then system will give you multiple data screens. That is, with each data screen, you will be presented with multiple fields which are relevant for that view and that organizational level. And in those fields, you will maintain your material master data. Okay, so you can see this sequence. First, you have to select the views, then you have to enter the organizational levels, and finally, you will be presented with data screens which will have multiple fields which you will enter and save in the material master record. But in your organization, you will deal with multiple kind of materials. So for each material, you cannot have the same data screens. Let's say that you're creating master for your raw materials. Then you do not need the sales related data because raw materials will not be selling to anyone. You will just be purchasing. Similarly, let's say that you're maintaining master record for finished goods. Then for finished goods, you do not require purchasing data because finished goods is something which you will be producing. So you will require sales data and the production data also. So depending upon the kind of material that you are creating, you must have some filtering technique so that you are presented with your relevant data screens. And that filtering criteria is your material type and industry sector. So you can see the first screen that will be presented to you will basically contain inputs for material type and industry sector. So you can see we have two factors based on which your views will change and hence your data screens will change. Okay. And these two factors are material type and industry sector. And in the input, you will also have a reference field where you can enter a reference material code from which you want to copy to your new material code. Okay. So basically you have these three fields which will come up on the screen when you will try to create a material master. And these fields are industry sector, material type, and reference material. Okay. And unless you select material type and industry sector, you will not be able to create any material code. So now let's understand the meaning of this material type and industry sector. So now let's understand the meaning of material type. So you can see materials are segregated under various material types based on their properties. So whenever you will be creating any material, first you need to select what kind of material you are creating. Let's say that you're creating a raw material, then you must select a different material type. If you're creating a finished goods, then a different material type is to be selected. And this material type has multiple control functions and it is configured based on the properties of the material that you want to create. The configuration of material type we'll see in detail in our next video. In this video, we'll see what is the meaning of material type and how we have to decide on what material type we have to select while creating the material master. Okay, so you can see these material types are basically categorized in two ways. One is the general business application and another one is the special business application. So you can see here we have these four major material types which are used in general business application, and these are raw material, semi-finished good, finished good, and trading goods. So your raw materials are basically inputs which you will use to create your semi-finished and finished good. The semi-finished good is basically the material which is produced in between. That is a material which you will not be selling to your end customer, but you will have to keep it in your inventory and then process it to create the finished good. Now, the finished good is something which you will be selling to your customers. And these trading goods are basically used by traders where they will purchase the material and then sell it to the end customer. So you can see based on the type of material you are dealing with, your views will change and the fields that you have to maintain in your material master will also change. And you can see these are the standard material types which are given by SAP for these kind of materials. Then you can see we have special business applications also. That is, we have multiple special business scenarios where we need to create special material codes. And for them, we have to use these material types. So you can see we have non-valuated material, non-stock material, pipeline material, returnable transport packaging material, then manufacturer part number materials and services. All these are special materials and for them we have to use their special material types. Okay. Now always remember that these are the standard material types which you can use in your organization. The configuration might be in such a way that custom material types are available, which will basically be a copy of these standard material types. Okay. So you have to understand what type of material you are creating and you have to see the description of the material type that you are selecting. And based on that material type only, you have to verify what all views are coming on the screen. And based on those views only, you will be maintaining the material master. So you have to basically decide for which business transaction you are creating the material code. And accordingly, you have to select the material type. If you have custom material types in your organization, then you have to either refer to your standard operating procedures, or you have to see the description of that material type and decide upon which material type you have to select while creating your material master. Okay, so selection of material type is very important and is the first step in creating the material master. So you can see here the material type has multiple controls. The material type basically decides whether the number assignment will be internal or external. That is, when you create the material code, system will either assign a automatic number to your material master or will ask you to enter the number manually. So when you will be asked to enter the number manually, then it means that that material type is configured for external number assignment. Okay. If the system automatically assigns a number, then that particular material type will have configuration with internal number assignment. So external number assignment means you will have to feed the number externally in the screen. Internal number assignment means that system will automatically assign a material number to your material master. Okay. Then this material type also controls the permissible number range. You will see that for certain material type, you get a different number range, and for another material type you get a different number range. So basically this material type controls that what type of number is to be generated by the system, that is in which range that particular material number should lie. Okay, then you can see, as we discussed, the material type controls the department specific views which are proposed to you on the screen. Then you can see the material type also controls the procurement type. Now what is a procurement type? Some materials are procured internally. What does internal procurement mean? Basically, internal procurement means production of the material through production order. Okay, so a material can be procured internally and externally. Internally means you have to create production order. External procurement means you have to create a purchase order and then the vendor will supply you that material. So this procurement type is also controlled through the material type. So let's say that you have raw material, then the procurement type will be external. That is, you will purchase that material from the vendor. If your material type is finished good, then the procurement type will be internal. That is, you will be producing that material internally through production order. So this procurement type also is controlled by your material type. Okay. Then finally, you can see the value and quantity control is also managed through the material type. On our channel, we already have a video on valuated, non-valuated and non-stock item. You can check out that video and understand how material type controls the value and quantity update. So these are some basic material type controls which are there in the system. We'll see in detail about material type configuration in our next video. Now let's understand the meaning of industry sector. So as we saw that in the input screen, you have to select a material type and the industry sector also. Now, what does industry sector field do? Basically, this controls which screens are displayed and in which sequence and which industry specific fields are displayed on each screen. Let's say that you're creating a raw material, but that raw material specifications may change based on the industry for which you are creating the raw material. So whenever you will be entering the material type, you also have to tell the system for which industry you are creating that material. And based on that, system will basically give you multiple screens in a given sequence and multiple fields which are applicable for that industry. So let's understand this with an example. So you can see here we have these two material types. We have raw materials and finished goods. And we have these two industry sectors. We have mechanical engineering and food industry. So for mechanical engineering, a raw material can be a bearing and a finished good can be a machine. And for food industry, a raw material can be a cocoa bean and a finished good can be a chocolate. So you can see for a given material type, based on the industry sector, the fields will change. That is, if you're maintaining for food industry, the fields will be different than if you're maintaining for mechanical engineering. So the material type is same, that is raw material only, but the fields will be different and the screens also may be different. Okay, so based on this industry sector, you can configure what all screens are displayed, in which sequence those screens are displayed, and which fields are also displayed for maintaining the material master. Okay, so you can see this industry sector basically controls the screen and field selection. So we have understood these two fields, that is industry sector and material type. Based on these two entries, you will be given a list of views. When you select the views, then you will be asked to enter the relevant organizational element. And once you enter those relevant organizational elements, then data screens will come up and you will have to enter the relevant data for the material master. Okay, so it is a four-step process. First, you have to enter the industry sector and the material type. Then you have to select the views. Then you have to enter the relevant organizational elements. And finally, you have to enter the material master data records. We'll see this whole process in SAP and then it will become more clear to you. Now let's see what is a material extension process. So till now we saw how we can create a material, but let's say that you have created a material and then you want to extend that material to a different organizational element. Then how you can do this process? So let's say that you have material M001 and you have maintained the purchasing data for plant 1000. Okay, so you have created this material, you have entered the client data and you have entered the purchasing data. Now let's say that you want to extend this particular material with the accounting data also. As we saw that we have different views for purchasing and accounting. So you have already created for purchasing, but now you want to extend the view for accounting. So how you can do that? So basically in this extension process, you will have to create a particular view for this material. Okay, so this extension process is basically a creation only, but this time what you're doing, you're not creating the whole material master record. You are basically creating individual views for that material master. Okay, so you can see here, we are creating the accounting view for this material. We already had purchasing view and the basic data view. Now what we are doing is we are basically creating a accounting view, and this process is basically called material extension. That is, you're extending the material to another view of that material master. So now you can see we have created two views, that is purchasing and accounting view for plant 1000. Now let's say that you have to extend this material to another organizational element. Let's say that you have another plant where you have to extend this material with the purchasing view and the accounting view. So now you can see you want to extend this material to plant 2000 with purchasing and accounting view. So what does this mean? This basically mean creating these views for plant 2000. So you can see here, this is also a creation process. And once you create these views for plant 2000, then you will also have these two views available for this particular material. So now this material M001 has purchasing and accounting view for plant 1000 and purchasing and accounting view for plant 2000. So the creation of a material will happen once only. When you create a material, you will select those views and enter those organizational elements. Once you create the material, then for extending that material with another view or to another organizational element, you will basically be in creation mode only, but this time you will be creating new views or you will be entering new organizational element for the existing views. Okay, so in this case, we saw in the first step what we did, we extended this material to a new view, that is accounting view for plant 1000. And in the next step, what we did, we extended this material in a new plant, that is plant 2000 with purchasing and accounting view. So whenever you hear this word extension of material, it basically means creation of new views or creation of data for new organizational element for existing views. Okay, so in this way, we saw how you can create and extend a material. Now let's move on to SAP and see everything in action. So first of all, let's create the material master. So we'll go to logistics, materials management, material master, material. And here you can see you have two folders. One is for create special and another one is create general. So first of all, let's go to this folder. So we'll go to create general. And you can see to create the material master, you have T code MM01. Now, this is the most important T code as far as material master is concerned. Whenever you have to create a material, you can use this T code MM01 to create the material master. So we'll double click on this MM01. So you see in the input screen, you have these three fields, that is the material number, industry sector and material type. And you have a field for reference material. That is, if you want to copy data from your existing material master, then you can enter in this field and then you can copy from that particular material master. So now why you have an input field for material number also? So based upon your material type settings, either your material will have an external number range or an internal number range. Now, if your material number has external number range, then you will have to feed the material number manually in this particular field in this screen here. If your material type is configured such that the material code is to be generated internally by the system, then you are not supposed to enter any number here. Okay. Then you have to select this industry sector and the material type. So as we discuss, this material type will be responsible for putting all the views on the screen which are applicable, and this industry sector will be responsible for deciding that in which sequence those views are presented on the screen and which all fields are to be shown on the screen. So let's first create a raw material. So we'll select material type as ROH. So let's enter ROH here. So you can see ROH is for raw material, and let's enter industry type as manufacturing. So you can see we have selected industry sector as manufacturing and material type as raw materials. Now, if you're not able to see these keys for the material type and industry, then you have to go to this option here, that is for customize local layout. If you click on this particular icon here, you will go to options. And here, if you go to interaction design and visualization 1, you can see you have this particular checkbox here, that is show keys within drop down list. So if you select this checkbox, then system will also show you the keys against the particular material type and the industry. So in each of the drop downs which are available in your SAP, for every field, system will also show you the keys there. Okay. So you can see system is showing me this ROH because I have selected this particular checkbox here. Okay. So we'll click on OK here. So now once you have entered the material type and industry, let's press enter. So you see system gives a pop-up where system asks you to select the views. So as we discussed earlier, what are views? Views are basically different departments which will be maintaining data against a material master, or they represent multiple activities which will be done with the material master. So you can see you have views for basic data, classification, sales, then purchasing, then MRP related views. Then if you scroll down, then you will find views for general plan data or storage 1, general plan data or storage 2. Then you have quality management, then you have accounting views. And if you scroll further down, you will find that you have views for costing also. So in this way, you can see you have all these views depending upon the material type which you have selected in the input screen. So this material type basically is configured in such a way that you will get all these views on the screen where you can maintain data against your material master. So as we discussed earlier, for doing purchasing and inventory management related activities, the minimum view that you have to select is, first you have to select basic data 1, then purchasing. Then if you scroll down, you have to select general plan data or storage 1 view and the accounting 1 view. So these 4 views are the minimum views that you have to select for enabling your material for purchasing and inventory management related activities. Because for purchasing related activities, you have to maintain the purchasing view. For inventory management related activities, you have to enter the general plan data or storage 1 view. And for the accounting related activities, you have to maintain the accounting 1 view. And to enter the basic data of the material, that is the basic information of the material, you have to enter that in the basic data 1 view. Okay. Now let's press enter and see what happens. So if I click on this continue button here, you can see now system asks me to enter the organizational levels. You can see here, system asks me to enter the organizational levels, which is applicable to the views which I selected earlier. Okay. Earlier I selected 4 views that were basic data 1, purchasing, storage 1 and accounting 1. So for all those views, collectively, I must enter these 2 organizational levels, that is the plant and the storage location. The plant has come up because I selected the purchasing and accounting 1 view, and the storage location has come up because I selected the storage 1 view. Okay. Now to verify this, let's close this window first. And again, let's press enter and let's select basic data 1 only and let's press enter. So now you see system did not ask me to enter any organizational level. Now why this happened? Because the basic data 1 is the client level data. and the client information is already there in the system from my login information. So system did not ask me to enter the client. Now let's go back and select the purchasing view also. So we'll go back and let's again double click on MM01 and let's press enter. And now let's select basic data 1 and purchasing and let's press enter. Now you see system asks me to enter the plant code. So for maintaining the purchasing view, I need to enter the plant code for which I am maintaining this purchasing view. So the moment I selected the purchasing view also along with basic data 1, system first asks me to enter the plant code against which I am going to maintain the purchasing data. Now let's close this window and let's again press enter. And this time I'll select basic data 1, purchasing, and I'll select the storage 1 view also. And now let's press enter. Now you see system asks me both these data, that is the plant code and the storage location. Now why this is happening? Because I have selected purchasing view, storage 1 view and basic data 1 view. So for purchasing view, plant code is required. For storage 1 view, storage location is required. So as and when you keep on selecting the views, system will give you pop-up for all the applicable organizational levels. Now let's again close this particular window and let's press enter. And now let's select basic data 1 view, sales view, purchasing view, storage 1 view, and the accounting view. And let's press enter. Now you see the list of organizational level have increased. Now what extra levels system is asking you to enter? Along with plant and storage location, system is also asking you to enter the sales organization and the distribution channel. Now why this has happened? Because we have selected the sales view also. And to maintain the sales related data, you must enter the sales organization and the distribution channel against which you are maintaining the sales related data. Okay, so depending upon the views that you select, system will give you all the applicable organizational levels which you must enter first, and then only system will send you to the data screens. Okay, so as we discussed, this is a 4-step process. First, you have to select the industry and the material type. Then if you press enter, you have to select the views. So let's select again these views. And then in the third step, you have to enter the organizational levels. So let's enter our plant code and we'll enter the storage location and let's press enter. So you see, system first sends me to this basic data 1 view. You can see this particular tab is selected currently and there is a particular icon appearing here. Okay. So currently I'm in the basic data 1 view. Now this view will be maintained at client level. And what all data I have to maintain in this particular view? Basically, I have to maintain the descriptions, unit of measurements, material groups, and other details of the materials which are related to the specification of the material. Okay. So let's say that I am creating the material code for bearings. So I'll enter bearing here as the description. Then you can see system asks me to enter the unit of measurement. So let's enter each here. And then you can see system asks me to enter the material group. Now, what is a material group? Basically, this is a broad category under which I can define a material based on its specifications. And this particular material groups will be created through the configuration route. The consultant will create all the applicable material group which is there for your organization. And then you have to select the appropriate material group in this particular field here. Normally, material groups are used for reporting purpose and are also used for account determination purpose. But you have to understand that this material group is basically to show that for what kind of material you are creating the material master. Okay, so if you take a drop down, you will find the list of all the material groups which have been created in your system. So let's select this particular material group here. Then you can see you have other fields like old material number, authorization groups, and then dimensions of the particular material. So all these fields are basically client level fields. That is the fields which will be applicable throughout the organization. Now you can see you have a button for additional data. Now, as we discussed earlier, whenever you are maintaining the data for a material master, you have the option to maintain the main data, that is the main views that you have selected, and you also have the option to maintain the additional data. Now, what is an additional data? Let's say that you have entered the base unit of measurement as each, that is numbers, but this particular material is also managed in other unit of measurements. Then how you can enter those additional unit of measurements in the material master? So to enter those additional information, you have this particular section here. So once we have entered the client level data, let's press enter. And now you can see system sends you to this purchasing view. So in the same sequence in which you selected the views in the first screen, system will send you in all those views. So first system sent you to the basic data 1 view, and we entered the basic data of the material. Now system has sent you to this purchasing view, and you can see this icon appearing here which says that currently you are maintaining the purchasing related data, and you can see the plant code has appeared here. Earlier in the basic data 1 view, you were not seeing the plant code field. If you again go to the basic data 1 view, if I select here, you can see the plant code field is not there because this basic data 1 view we are maintaining at the client level. But if we go to the purchasing data, you can see for purchasing, you must have a plant code here. And this is the plant code which we entered in the input screen. Okay, so you have plant code M001 for which you are maintaining the purchasing data. And you can see there are multiple fields which are relevant for purchasing, like purchasing group, material status, tax indicator, material freight group. Then you have order unit, automatic PO indicator, and you have purchasing value keys related data. So all these data are purchasing related data which you maintain at plant level. Okay, so let's enter a purchasing group here, and then we'll press enter. And now you can see system has sent to this view plant data or storage 1 view. And now you can see along with plant, you have storage location also being shown on the screen. And why this is happening? Because now we are maintaining the storage location level data. Okay, so for storage location level data, the storage location entry is mandatory, and system is telling you that we are creating the storage location data for plant M001 and storage location 0001. And here in this particular screen, you will find the storage location level data which you have to enter. Like you have storage bin, temperature conditions, container requirements, unit of issue, picking area. All these fields are basically related to your storage location data. Now, if you again press enter, now you see system sends you to the accounting view. And here you can see you have plant code available. Now for accounting view, you maintain data at valuation area level. And normally valuation area is maintained as plant code only. So here you will maintain at the plant code level. And you can see two most important fields which are there in this accounting one view is the valuation class and the price control. We'll see these two fields in detail in our subsequent videos. Basically, this valuation class connects your material master to the financial document posting part. That is, whenever you will post any material document against your material master, system will automatically pick GLs in the background while posting the accounting documents. And those GLs will be determined automatically through a automatic account determination process in which this valuation class plays a crucial role. We'll understand this concept when we discuss the material valuation and automatic account determination. But this valuation class is basically a bridge between MM and FI. Okay, and you can see you have another field called price control. Basically, in this particular field, you have two options. Either your material can have a standard price or moving average price. We'll discuss the concept of standard price and moving average price in our subsequent videos. And you can see I cannot change the price control here. Now this is controlled through the material type configuration. We'll see the material type configuration in detail in our next video. So for now, what we'll do, we'll enter a valuation class here. So let's take a drop down, and you can see system gives you a list of valuation class which is applicable for this material. Now this particular drop down also comes from the material type configuration. Okay, so let's select 3000 here. And now let's press enter. So now you see system is asking you to enter a moving average price. So let's enter a moving price here. And now if we press enter, what system will do? Remember that we had selected 4 views earlier. That is basic data 1 view, purchasing view, store allocation view, and accounting 1 view. And we have gone through all these views in this particular screen. And now we are in the last view. So if we press enter, system will basically create your material master. So let's press enter, and you can see system tells you that you are about to exit. And why this has happened? Because last data screen has been reached. Okay, so whatever views you selected, you have already gone through all those views and you have maintained your applicable data, and now you are in your last screen. So if you are about to exit, whether you want to save your data, so if you click on yes, system will create the material master. And before clicking on yes, you can see system has already assigned a number in this particular material number field. And why this is happening? Because for this particular material type, the configuration is such that system will internally assign a number. That is, system will automatically assign a number to your material master. And this is the number which system has already assigned to your material master. And if we click on yes, system will create this material master with this particular material number. Okay, so let's click on yes. And you can see system tells you that material number has been created. Okay, now how I can display this material master? So let's go back. And again, we'll go to logistics, materials management, material master, material. We'll go to display, and MM03 is for displaying a material master. Okay, so to display any material code, you have to go to T code MM03, and you can see this is the material code that we created just now. Now if I press enter, you can see again system will give me a list of all the applicable views. So if I select basic data 1, purchasing, general plan data storage 1, and accounting 1, and if I press enter, I'll have to enter all those organizational levels. So I'll enter the plant code and the storage location. And you can see one more field system is asking me to enter, that is the valuation type. Now this is applicable for materials with split valuation. We'll understand this particular topic in our subsequent video when we understand about the split valuation functionality. For this material, we do not have the split valuation functionality, so we'll not enter anything in this valuation type field. We'll simply press enter, and you can see system will show you all that data which has been maintained against all these views. So you have basic data 1, then if you press enter, system will send you to the purchasing view. Then again, if you press enter, system will send you to the plan data or storage 1 view. And if you again press enter, system will send you to the accounting 1 view. Okay, so in this way, we have created the applicable views for purchasing and inventory management. Now let's understand the meaning of this create special folder. So we used MM01 under this particular folder. You can see MM01 is there in the create general folder. Now let's go to this create special folder, and you can see you have multiple T codes for creating individual material master for various material types. So you can see MMR1 is for creating raw material, MMB1 is for creating semi-finished product, MMF1 is for creating finished product, and so on. So if you double click on this MMR1, that is, if you go to this T code MMR1, system will automatically select the material type as raw material, and system will select the industry which you selected in your earlier transaction. Okay, so you can see system automatically defaults the material type to ROH, that is raw material. Now if you go back, and if you open MMB1, you can see system automatically selects the material type as HALB. So basically these T codes are special T codes for creating material for a particular material type. That is, if you do not know the key for a particular material type, then you can directly go to these T codes and system will automatically select the appropriate material type. Let's say that you want to create material for trading goods, then you can double click on MMH1, and you can see system automatically selects the material type as HAWA, that is for trading goods. If you go back, and let's say that you want to create a non-valuated material, then the T code is MMU1, and if you go to this T code, system will automatically select the material type as UNBW. So these T codes are specifically designed to create materials for a particular material type, and MM01 is basically for creating the material master from scratch. That is, you will have to select the industry and the material type, and then you will be creating the material codes. These are special T codes which are there for particular material type, which if you open, system will default the material type to the particular transaction which you're using. Now let's see how we can change a material master. So to change the material master, we'll go to this folder and you can see MM02 is for changing the material code. So if we double click on MM02, we'll go to the change material screen. Now let's enter the material code. So this is the material code we created just now. Now let's press enter and now we have to select all the applicable views. So now let's say that we have to change something in basic data 1. So we'll select basic data 1 and we'll press enter. And here you can see you can change all those details which you entered earlier. So I can change the base unit of measurement, the material group, the description, and I can also enter details which I did not enter earlier. Now for some fields you have certain restrictions, like if you have already created a purchasing document or if you have stock, then you cannot change the base unit of measurement. Okay, so to change the base unit of measurement, you must delete all the purchasing documents and you should not have stock against your material. Then only you will be able to change this base unit of measurement. Okay, so this MM02 you can use to change the data against all the views which you have already maintained. So if I go to the purchasing view, I'll have to enter the plant code first and I can change the purchasing related data. Okay, if I go to the storage one view, then I'll have to enter the storage location also. And then for this combination of plant and storage location, I can change the data which I entered earlier, or I can enter new data also. If I go to the accounting one view, I can change the valuation data. But here also for valuation class, you have multiple prerequisites based on which you can change the valuation class. So through T code MM02, you can change a material master. Now let's see how we can maintain the additional data for a particular material. Okay, so you can see we have a button here called additional data. Let's say that for a material you have entered base unit of measurement as each, but that material is managed in other unit of measurements also. Okay, let's say that these bearings are also supplied in cartons. So how you can maintain that unit of measurement? So this new unit of measurement is basically an additional data for this material. And to enter this additional data, I have to go to this particular button here. And if I click on this button here, you can see system will send you to another screen here. And this screen contains different tabs. Earlier we had all the tabs for the applicable views for the material. Now you have tabs related to the additional data for the material, and you can see you have tabs for description, unit of measurement, additional EANs, document data, basic data text, inspection text, and so on. So you can see in this description tab you can enter the description of this material in multiple languages. For our current case, we have entered bearing in the English language. You can select any other language and then enter the description of this material in that particular language. Let's say that you select German here, then you can enter the German description of this particular material in this particular field. So basically these tabs are to maintain the additional data against the main data that you have maintained in the material master. Okay, so you had maintained a description of this material in the basic data one tab. Now additional data against that description, that is description in multiple languages, you can enter in this particular additional data screen. Okay, then if you go to units of measure, you can enter the additional unit of measures which are applicable for this material code. And you can see this is the base unit of measurement that we entered in the basic data one tab. In this particular table, I can enter other unit of measurements also which are applicable for this material. So let's say that this material is also managed in cartons. So what I can do, I can enter the unit of measurements in cartons here. And here I can maintain the conversion ratio between these two unit of measurements. That is, let's say that in a carton you have 10 bearings. So you can enter 10 here. And if you press enter, you can see one carton is equal to 10 each. Okay, so in this way you can enter multiple applicable unit of measurement in this particular additional data tab. Okay, then if you go to the basic data text, you can enter the additional data for this particular material. Let's say that you have entered a description as bearing and you want to enter the specification of this bearing. Then that specification you can enter in this basic data text tab. Okay, then you have inspection text. Here you can enter the inspection related text, that is the inspection instruction which is there for this material. You can enter in this particular box here. Then you can see you have internal comment where you can enter some internal comments for this material. And finally, you have this consumption tab where you can maintain the consumption data of this particular material. So in this way, you saw that in this particular additional data section, you can enter the additional data which is applicable for your material. And if you want to go to the main data, then you can click on this button here. And again, system will send you to this particular list of all the views. Okay. So you can see we have all these views here: basic data 1, purchasing, accounting 1, and storage 1. And if you want to go to the additional data, then you have to click on this button here. Okay. So now let's save this material code. Now let's see how we can extend a material master. Now, as we saw earlier, what is the meaning of extension? Basically, extension means creation of new views for a material or creation of the existing views for new organizational elements. Okay, so let's say that you have created this material. Now, let's say that you have created this material and you want to maintain the MRP views also. So what this will mean? This will mean basically extending this material code with the MRP views. And how I can do that? So whenever you are extending a material, basically you are creating a material in a particular view. So what we have to do? Again, we have to go to T code MM01 and we have to enter the material code that we created just now. So we'll enter this material code. You'll have to press enter, and this time we'll select the MRP views here. So what we are doing, we already have a existing material master, but we are creating new views for this material master. Okay. So this creation of new views basically amounts to extension of this material for these activities. Okay. So let's press enter, and you can see now system asks you to enter the plant, storage location, and MRP profile. And the plant code is mandatory for these views. That is, at least you have to enter the plant code to maintain the views. So let's enter M001 here and let's press enter. And you can see system sends you to this particular screen of MRP1. And what system tells you here? System tells you that material already exists and will be extended. Now, why system is telling you this? Because this material already has data against multiple views. This material already has data against basic data 1 view, purchasing, accounting, and storage location view. And now you are entering new views for this material, that is MRP 1, 2, 3, and 4. So basically system tells you that material already exists and will be extended with these views. Okay. So let's enter the relevant data. So we'll enter MRP type here. We'll enter the lot sizing procedure here. We'll enter MRP controller here. Let's press enter. And you can see now system sends you to the MRP2 view. Let's press enter again. Now we are in MRP3 view. Let's press enter again. And finally, we are in MRP4 view. And now if we press enter, system will tell you that we have reached the last data screen. And if you click on yes, now system will extend this material with all those 4 views. That is MRP1, MRP2, MRP3, and MRP4. So in this way, we extended an existing material code to 4 new views. Now let's see how we can extend this material to a new organizational element. That is, let's say that we have this material created against a plant and a storage location. Now let's extend this material to another plant and storage location. Okay, so how we can do that? Again, we'll have to create the views for our new organizational element. And this time what we can do, we can copy the existing data which is there in our previous plant code and storage location. So let's do that. So we'll enter the material code here. And we'll enter the material code here also. So you can see I am entering the material code here for which I want to create views for new organizational element. And I am entering the same material code here in the reference field also. And let's press enter. And let's again select basic data 1, purchasing, storage 1, and accounting 1. And let's press enter. Now you see system gives me 2 sections here. One is organizational levels for which I have to create the material code, and the organizational levels from where I have to copy. Okay. Now, when I am saying that I have to create, basically I am doing the activity of extension because this material code already exists in the system. I am extending it to a new set of plant and storage location combination. And I want to copy the data from an existing plant and storage location combination. So let's do that. So let's enter our new plant code here. So we'll enter the plant code and we'll enter the new storage location here. And here we'll enter the plant code and storage location from where we want to copy. Okay, so we'll enter the existing plant code and the storage location. So we already have material master maintained against this plant and storage location combination, and we are extending those views to this new plant and storage location combination. That is, we are basically creating these views for this plant and storage location combination, and we are copying data from this combination. Okay, so let's press enter. And now you can see system tells you that the material already exists and will be extended. And extended where? Extended to the new plant and storage location. Okay. And you can see system will copy the data from the existing material master record. So you can see the purchasing group has been copied. If we press enter, if you had entered any data in the storage one view also, then that data also would have been copied here. Then if we press enter, finally in the accounting one view, you can see the valuation class and the moving price has been copied from the existing data which lies against plant M001. Okay, so the data which was existing in the earlier plant and storage location combination is copied here on the screen. And now you are creating this material master for the new combination of plant M002 and storage location 0002. Okay. So always you have to remember that whenever you are extending a material, you are basically creating new views for the material, or you are creating the existing views for new organizational elements. Okay. So now if you press enter, you can click on yes. And now system will extend this material to this new plant and storage location combination. To verify this, we'll go to MM03 and we'll enter this material code and we'll press enter. We'll select basic data 1, purchasing, storage 1 and accounting 1. We'll press enter, and this time we'll enter the new plant and storage location. So we'll enter M002 and storage location 0002. And if we press enter, you can see system has created this material master for this new plant and storage location combination, or system has extended this material to this new plant and storage location combination. So if we press enter, you can see the purchasing view has been created for plant M002. If we again press enter, you can see the storage one view has been created for combination of M002 and 0002. If you again press enter, you can see the accounting one also has been created for plant M002. Okay. So in this way, we saw how we can extend the material with new views or with new organizational elements. Now let's say that you have to extend your material to multiple storage locations. Let's say that under your plant, you have multiple storage locations and you have to extend your material to all those storage locations. So how you can do that? You can do that activity by using a special transaction code, that is MMSC. So if you go back, if you go to this other folder, you can see you have MMSC for enter storage location. Now, if I double click this, you can see system asks you to enter a material code and a plant code, and you have two selections here. List all existing storage locations or list extendable storage locations only. Now, what is list all existing storage location? Here system will show you the existing storage locations also where this material is extended, and you will have the option to enter new storage locations. In this option, system will not show you the existing storage location. System will only give you a screen where you can enter the new storage locations. So let's select this option and let's press enter. So you can see system gives you the storage location where this material is already extended. So you can see see this material is already extended to 0002. Now, if you want to extend this material to another storage location, then you can simply enter that storage location here, and you can enter the storage bin here, which will be entered in the material master for that particular storage location. So if you take a drop down, system will give you list of all the storage locations which are attached to this plant. So if we select 0001 and let's enter a bin here and let's press enter. So you can see if we save this particular data, then system will extend this material to this storage location and will enter this bin details in the particular field in the material master. So let's save this particular data. And now let's verify by going to MM03. Let's press enter and we'll go to storage one view. We'll enter the plant and we'll enter the storage location 0001 here, and let's press enter. So you can see the storage bin has been updated here. So through this MMSC T code, you can maintain the storage location data in mass. That is, you can enter all the storage locations against which you want to extend this material. Now, if you select this particular option, then system will not give you the list of storage location to which the material is already extended. So you can see now you have a blank table here. So system does not show you to which storage location the material is already extended. You can select new storage locations here. So let's select this storage location and this one. And if you want, you can enter the storage bins here. And if you save this, system will extend this material to these two storage locations. Okay. So in this way, you can extend the material to storage locations in mass. Okay. So now let's go back. And you can see you have another T code MM50 for extending material views. Now, what is this T code? Now, as we discuss that against each view, you maintain the data in a material master. So let's say that you have maintained the purchasing view and you want to maintain the accounting view for that material. So how you can do that? Either you can go to MM01 and create the accounting one view, or you can go to this T code MM50, and from there you can extend that material with this new view. Okay, so let's see that. So what we'll do, let's first create a material code. So we'll go to MM01, we'll press enter, we'll select basic data 1 and purchasing. We'll enter the plant code here and let's press enter. And you can see the description has been copied, the unit of measurement and material groups have been copied. Now let's go to the purchasing view and let's save this material master. So you can see our new material code has been created. Now let's say that I want to extend this material with accounting one view. So how I can do that? So either I can go to MM01 and create the accounting one view, or I can go to this MM50 and then extend this material to the new view. So let's do that. So we'll go to this T code MM50 and here we'll enter our new material code. And you can see we have a field called maintenance status. Now what is maintenance status? Whenever you maintain a view for a material master, system updates the material data with a particular maintenance status. If you take a drop down, you can see for each view you have a maintenance status given here. So if you maintain the purchasing view, system updates the material master with maintenance status E. If you maintain the accounting view, then system updates the maintenance status as B here. You can see. So all these views basically correspond to this maintenance status. So whenever you maintain a particular view for a material, system updates that material master with these views. So now we have already maintained data against purchasing view and we want to maintain data against the accounting view. So if you take a drop down for accounting, you have maintenance status B here. So let's select B and let's execute. So you can see system gives you this particular line here that you want to extend this material with the accounting view. Okay, so let's select this and we'll click on maintain materials, and you can see system will send me to the accounting one view. So we'll enter the valuation class here. We'll enter the moving price here. And if we press enter, So you can see now system has maintained this particular view for this material. Now let's understand the meaning of default values in this material master creation process. Now we saw that whenever we are creating the material master, we have to first select the views and then we have to enter the organizational levels. Now let's say that every time you have to select the same views and enter the same organizational levels. So how you can default that data every time you create a material master? So to default that data, you have to save the default views and the default organizational levels. So let's see how we can do that. So you can see you have an option for defaults here. And if you click on industry sector, you can see you can select an industry sector which will be defaulted each time you open MM01. Okay. And you also have a checkbox telling that hide industry sector on initial screen. So what will happen? You select an industry sector and you select this checkbox. Then every time if you open MM01, system will not show you the industry sector input field. System in the background will automatically select the industry which you have entered here, and every time will create the material with this industry. So let's see that. So we'll select an industry here. We'll select manufacturing here and we'll click on this checkbox and we'll press OK. So now you see the industry is removed from this input screen. So whenever you are creating a material master now, you will not be entering the industry sector. System will automatically select the industry sector as manufacturing, which we have already maintained in the default values. And if you want to verify the default values, then again you can go to default and click on industry sector and you can see this manufacturing has been selected. And again, if you want to activate this industry sector, then you can deselect this checkbox and click OK, and you can see this industry is now available in the input screen. Now let's again go to this defaults option and let's select views here. So you can see in this dialog box, you can select what all views you want to default when you are creating the material master. So we saw that for purchasing and inventory management, we had 4 important views. Those are basic data 1, purchasing, storage 1, and accounting 1 view. So let's select them. So we'll select basic data 1, purchasing, storage 1, and accounting 1, and let's press enter. So now you see we have maintained these 4 views as default views. Now let's press enter in this screen. So you can see system automatically selects all these 4 views. So you can see system selected basic data 1, purchasing 1, storage 1, and accounting 1. And this has happened because I have maintained this default setting here for the views. You can see for the views, I have selected these 4 views as default selection. So whenever I'll press enter after entering the industry sector and material type, system will automatically select these 4 views. And this setting I can also do by clicking this particular button here. So if you select views on this dialog box and click on this default setting, system will basically save in its memory what all default views you have to select while creating the material master. Okay. Now let's see how we can enter the default values for organizational levels also. So again, we'll go to this defaults and you can see the organizational levels are available here. Now let's select this particular option. And here you can enter all the organizational elements which you want to default in the input screen. So you can see you can enter plant, storage location, valuation type, sales organization, and other fields. And you can also enter fields from where you want to copy. Okay. So these are the default values which you can enter. So let's enter a plant code here. And let's enter a storage location here. And let's press enter. So now again, let's press enter on this screen. So you can see system automatically selected these 4 views. And now let's again press enter. So you can see system defaulted these organizational levels also. So in this way, you can save the default values for your views and default values for your organizational levels. Now let's again go to these default values. So if you select views here, you can see there are 2 checkboxes available here. One is for view selection only on request and second is create views selected. So now what is the meaning of these 2 checkboxes? Now if you select this checkbox, then system will not give you a pop-up of views. System will simply send you to the next screen. Let's see that. So we'll select this checkbox, click OK, and now let's press enter on this screen. Now you see, system did not give me a pop-up of views. System directly sent me to this organizational levels dialog box. Now why this has happened? Because in my default setting, I have selected that display views only on request. So if the end user requests, then only the views will be shown on the screen. Otherwise, system will directly send you to this organizational level dialog box. Now you can see there's another checkbox here which says organizational levels or profiles only on request. So these organizational levels also you can activate in such a way that system does not give you this dialog box also. So again, if we go to this default settings and if you go to organizational levels, you can see we have this checkbox here, that is organizational levels profiles only on request. So let's select this checkbox and click OK. And now in this screen, if I press enter, you can see system directly sends me to the material master maintenance screen. So system did not ask me to select the views and system did not ask me to enter the organizational level. And this has happened because I have entered the default values for both these entities and I have also selected the checkbox where I am telling the system that the organizational levels and the views will only be shown if the end user requests for that. If the end user does not request, then you have to directly send the user to the material master maintenance screen. Okay, so how we can request that? So if we go back and again if you go to MM01, now if I press enter, again system will send me to the same screen, but I want to enter new views here. So how I can override the default values? So for that I'll have to click on this select views here. So this button is basically to request the additional views. So let's click on this button and now you can see all these default views are already selected and I can select more views if I want. Okay, so in this way you can see I can save default values for these views and the organizational levels. Now let's understand the meaning of this checkbox, that is create views selected. Now this particular checkbox is important when you are creating a material by copying from another material master. So let's say that you have selected some views in which you want to copy the data, but you do not want to navigate to each of those views while creating the material master. So if you select this checkbox, then system will not ask you to navigate to each of those views. System will simply save the material code by copying the data from your existing material code. So let's see that. So now let's first go to our default settings. So we'll go to defaults and we'll go to organizational levels and here we'll enter the reference plant and storage location. Now since we are creating the new material code, so we'll enter the same plant and storage location as a reference here. Okay, so what system will do? System will copy the data in this particular plant and storage location combination from our existing material code to the new material code. Okay, so let's press OK. Now let's enter a material code here as a reference material and let's press enter. So you can see system copy data from our reference material to this new material code. And now I am not going to navigate to each of those views. That is, I'm not going to go to the purchasing view, accounting view, and storage location view. I am in the basic data one view only, and I'll simply click on this save button. Now, because I have selected the checkbox, so system will not ask me to go to each view. System will simply copy the data and create all those views which I have selected. So let's click on this save button. And you can see system has created this material code with all those views which I selected earlier. And this happened because in my defaults data, I have this particular checkbox selected, that is create views selected. So all these views which I already selected, system created automatically by copying from the reference material. And I did not have to go to each view and then verify that data and then save the material code. Okay, so this is the significance of this checkbox. Now let's see how we can change the material type for any material code. Let's say that you created a material with material type raw materials, that is material type ROH, and later you found that this material type was selected wrongly. So how you can correct the material type? So for that, you have T code MMAM. You can see here for change material type, the T code is MMAM. So if we double click this T code, you can see you can enter the material code here and you have to enter the new material type. Now always remember that if you want to change the material type, then all the purchasing document must be in the deleted state and you should not have any stock available against your material code. Okay. So now let's enter the material code here. And let's select a new material type here. So we'll enter finished good here and let's press enter. So you can see we had created this material with material type ROH. So the old material type is ROH here and we want to change this material type to FERT. So you can see new material type is FERT. Now let's execute this. Let's press enter. And now you can see system will ask you to enter the valuation class because the valuation class list will change based on the material type. So here you'll have to enter the valuation class which is applicable for this new material type FERT. You can see here system tells you check whether for the new material type FERT the valuation classes proposed are correct or not. So system will automatically propose a valuation class which is applicable for this new material type. You can take a drop down and you can see all the valuation class which are applicable for your new material type. So let's select any of these valuation classes and let's press OK. And you can see material type change successfully. Okay. Now where I can see the material type. So to see the material type, I have to go to MM03 and we'll press enter. We'll go to basic data 1. And you can see we have a icon here that is information on material. Now this is also a very important button which is there in your material master. If you click on this button, you can see system will give you the administrative data which is there for this material code. You can see system will tell you the material code, the description, the industry sector that you selected while creating this material code, then the material type. Now you can see this material type has been changed to FERT. Earlier this material type was ROH when we created this material. Now we have changed this material type and the new material type is FERT. Then it will tell you when this material was created and when it was last changed. Then it will tell you whether there is any deletion flag or locks in the material. And finally, it will tell you all the statuses which are created for this material and when they were created and through which user ID these views were created. Okay. So this I button is very important. From this I button only you can see what is the material type for your particular material code. Now let's finally see how you can take a list of material for your particular plant. So to take the list of material, you have T code MM60. You can see here you have this T code MM60 for material list. If you double click this, you can see you can enter material code, plant, material type, material group, created by, and you have this checkbox for valuated materials only. Now, if you select this checkbox, then system will only give you materials which are valuated. Materials which are non-valuated or non-stock will not be given if you select this particular checkbox. If you switch off this checkbox, then system will give you the non-valuated and non-stock materials also. So you can see we have entered this material code. Now, if you execute this, system will give you a report containing the material code, the plant code, the description, when it was last changed, the material type, the material group, the unit of measurement, and you have valuation details also like the valuation class, the price control, the price of the material, and other detail. So you can see through this MM60, you can take a report for your material master. So if you go back and let's enter the plant code only. And if we execute, you can see in this particular plant, we have all these material existing. So this MM60 is very useful if you want to take a list of all your material master in a tabular format. Okay. So in this way, we discussed the whole material master maintenance process. We discussed how you can create a material, how you can change a material, and how you can extend a material. We understood the meaning of multiple views for a material master and what is the meaning of maintenance status for a material master. We also understood what is the meaning of organizational levels and how they are triggered when you select a particular view. Okay. In our next video, we'll see the configuration of this material type, industry sector, and we'll see other configurations also related to important fields of material master. So I hope that you've understood this concept of material master maintenance, and I hope that you've liked this video. This video was specifically for end users which are working in SAP on day-to-day basis and maintaining the material master. In our next video, we'll cover the configuration part, and that will be useful for consultants. So see you in the next video with the configuration of the material master. Till then, please like my videos and share for maximum reach. And also please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done yet. See you in the next video. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thanks a lot.